Okay, third movie of the night. Let's see. Third movie of the night is gonna be Resident Evil Degeneration. Okay, let's start with a little backstory before I get into this. Um, I'm a big Resident Evil fan because I love survival horror games like Silent Hill. You know, I like Silent Hill over Resident Evil, but Resident Evil hold, still holds a little like heart. And yeah, I admit the series is a little stupid sometimes because like there's a lot of things in the plot that don't really make sense. Um, they like in the very first games, like they'd send one team in, and that team, like, you know, the Bravo team that crashed, and their solution was to send another team. And I don't know, that always came off as weird. And then there's some other things that didn't make sense, like if zombies were run in the woods, how come like they haven't attacked the city until later? And then like they they nuked Raccoon City, but I don't know it that the nuke eradicating the virus didn't really sound right. And then in the fourth game, they kind of just abandoned the story for the original storyline, and I don't know. It was kind of the story was kind of all over the place, but it was still fun to play. You know, you're not playing it for the storyline. You're playing it for the crap. I'd say you're playing it for the story, but you're really playing just to have fun with it. You're just shooting zombies. And then the movies came out by Paul W. Anderson. I don't really need to go into the Resident Evil original trilogy. Oh, I can't call it a trilogy anymore because they're making a fourth one, Afterlife, which is going to be in 3D, which I don't understand at all because 3D is not really a good gimmick, and I'm not even going to go into why it's not a good gimmick, but you know, the Resident Evil movies really just like I just don't know what went wrong because like in the first movie they just completely changed the storyline to the point where it's not about the original games. It's some other storyline that has the same title. Like they have some bits of the original games, like it's still Raccoon City, but it's not the same. It really isn't. And the reasoning was that if it was like the games, it would not be as scary, but what they came out with was not really that scary either. So, and they replaced George A. Romero with Paul W. Anderson. That makes no sense. And then the sequels, like I don't even want to talk about the sequels. I didn't see Extinction because like Extinction just I only had to read the plot and then I just skip. And you know, after a while, the Resident Evil, I was kind of just like, I was kind of burnt out by Resident Evil until I read about that they were making a CG movie, and it was being made by Capcom. You know, and you're starting to think like, wait a minute, Capcom's making this movie, so it ought to be good. So I watched the movie, and I don't really know what's worse, the original trilogy or Degeneration. It's like it's there's a certain rule where like the what's how do I explain this? The company who originally made the thing will make a worse movie than someone else will. It's a weird rule, but it kind of makes it doesn't make sense either. I'm not going to say it makes sense, but it happens. The company that made the thing will make a worse movie than someone else will. And it makes no sense at all because if the company made the movie and they made it the original thing, the movie they make should be really good, but the movie they came out with was like okay. before I start bashing into the movie, I will say like the bonus material is kind of entertaining to watch because like I don't know, that's the one redeeming factor about this movie. Like the bonus material is worth it because there's one where they reworded what the characters are actually saying. So sorry, my sister's here. There's one clip where Leon S. Kennedy is like talking about his paycheck. It's like my fee is pretty damn good. Remember that? Yeah, she remembers. So the movie itself. Yeah, she remembers. The movie itself. It's like the kind of movie it is. It's the kind of movie where you're just going like, they had no idea what they were doing, so they were just rolling with it. They had no plot. They could not keep it in one place. It was just all over the place. Because if you see the trailer looks awesome. It's like the plot I thought would be like Claire and Leon meet up with each other again, like they in a coincidence, and the airport that they're in is infected, and they're locked in and they have to get out. That's really simple, but it works. But the spoiler is the airport is only in there for maybe a third of the movie, and I'm just going like, wait a minute. If the airport is not the whole movie, what are they gonna do? And most of the movies, nothing is really happening. They're just expositions everywhere, and some of the expositions they don't need because a lot of even though it's Resident Evil, a lot of the original Resident Evil stuff is kind of snubbed. Like Claire Redfield got the worst of the snub because even though she's on the cover, she's like barely in it. Like she's in it for most of the beginning, but then later on she kind of just disappears. And it treats her like a supporting character rather than like one of the main characters next to Leon. The real main female character was that one girl. I forgot her name. The police officer woman. She's the main character, and I know a lot of people who have been pissed off by that because we were really expecting like a Claire and a Leon team up, and then Leon himself, they're writing too much on the Resident Evil 4 hype. Like Leon is supposed to be this superhuman person who can handle anything, and he's not a bad main character, but they make him way too superhuman in this movie. Like there are scenes in there was a scene in that movie where he was running away, like there was the floor he was on was collapsing and he was running away, and when he jumps like and grabs on the ledge, it goes on the camera zooms in on his face and it's like no emotion, like he's not terrified at all. And then in the opening it's like he has no emotion. He's just like he's the kind of guy where he's too awesome to be scared, but at the same time it doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel human. That's what I'm trying to get at. Okay. And there's so many other things wrong, and it really boils down to bad plotting, because plot's all over the place. In the opening it was, I remember when Umbrella shut down, there was like a whole new wave of bioterrorism because of all this stuff that Umbrella left behind. So basically Umbrella is the Soviet Union, and all the things that get left behind go to random terrorist groups, one being like this guy named General Grande. I'm sorry. So and then there's also other things that are involved, like the president resigns or something in this movie, and other companies come in, like a new company, Tricell, is in here, and they're trying to fix things, and there's something about India, and just yeah, the opening looks good, but then it gets into the airport scene, which is actually kind of cool because what it is that Claire Redfield's there to protest Tricell's experiments, and then the airport she's in gets attacked, and And while she gathers the survivors, Leon S. Kennedy comes in because he's a special agent. Because you know, his not his job is not only to protect Ashley, his job is also to, go into the worst of like situations, like a zombie attack. They couldn't send in like a team or I don't know, special bioterrorism unit. No, they send Leon S. Kennedy. So my sister again. So, so they go in the airport and then they shoot him up, and then there's some really weird slow-mo action scenes where like there's a scene where Leon S. Kennedy, she throws a pistol at Claire Redfield and she catches it with her hand while doing like this kick, and then yeah, some other stuff happens, like the police woman who I mentioned earlier, her buddy gets bitten by a zombie, he turns into a zombie, blah blah blah, and then after that movie just falls apart because at this point it's like the writers are probably thinking, oh crap, we ended the movie too early, can't we just go back and extend it? I would have been fine if it was kind of like Armageddon, by Michael Bay, where it's just a series of what can possibly go wrong. Oh, the engine got out, oh, we had to fix that, and then whoa, what else could go wrong? Filler. You could have put it with filler and I would have been happy. But no, they continue. And then the plot just, I don't know what happened, because Leon S. Kennedy, he splits up and goes with the woman who turns out to be the sister of a terrorist, and then like they explain something, and then Claire Redfield goes to this lab and she learns of a plot, and then it just, you lose interest until the near end where, like, spoiler, the terrorist becomes a mutant. Basically, he turns into like that thing at the end of Resident Evil 2. Not the movie, I mean the game. And, I just don't understand what went wrong with this movie. Like, it could have been so simple, but they made it so complex. And even though it was so complex, it wasn't deep at all. It was just like, it's just all over the place. This is a perfect example of like relying too much on the name to carry your movie. Like, you can't just throw anything at a movie and expect us to like it. You gotta actually work on it. You can't just make a confusing, boring movie and expect Resident Evil fans to like it. That's not how we roll, alright? We want quality. If I can say one good thing about the movie, because I don't want to come off as a guy who just hates everything. If I can say one good thing about this movie, the CG looks really good. It looks really, really good. And the action scenes were entertaining, and at least it feels a lot more like Resident Evil than the live action movies did. That's what I can say. That's not saying much, but at least it's a step in the right direction. Now I gotta cover Afterlife. This sucks.